There are moments when a single cruel action reveals exactly where you stand with people who claim to be family. At a formal summer wedding in front of 80 guests, my 7-year-old daughter was spun around, grabbed by her small arm, and thrown off the dance floor. The woman who did it was my own mother-in-law, Martha. She believed I was just a quiet woman who traveled for vague government work. My name is Valerie, and for 8 long years I allowed the family of my husband to talk down to me. My husband Garrett always made excuses for his mother, claiming she meant well despite her constant insults. Everyone treated my frequent absences with utter disdain, brushing me off as an irresponsible parent. They had no idea that my job carried serious military authority because I never felt the need to boast about my title. The wedding was hosted at a lakeside estate for the younger brother of my husband, named Trevor, and his bride. Chloe, Martha had spent weeks hyping up a mystery guest to all the relatives, bragging that a high-ranking military officer would attend the reception. Meanwhile, she introduced me to guests as the absent mother who neglected her child. I simply smiled, kept my composure, and focused on watching my sweet daughter, Sadie. Sadie was wearing her favorite bright yellow dress along with brand new white dress shoes that squeaked against the wooden dance floor. She was spinning happily to a lively song filled with pure joy. Martha stood nearby with a glass of wine, glaring at my child with intense hostility. Uncle Vance, a loud man who loved controlling others, barked at the children to sit down, while Cousin Paige filmed everything on her phone. When my phone buzzed with an urgent call from my military post, I stepped back 3 steps to answer it. That brief moment of distraction was all Martha needed to unleash her bitterness. Above the music, a painful scream pierced the air as Martha violently yanked Sadie by her small wrist, pulling her arm back at an unnatural angle. A shoe slipped off my daughter as Martha yelled that no soldier's brat would ruin the event. I dropped to my knees beside my trembling daughter, who was cradling her injured right arm in complete shock. Uncle Vance stepped forward to block Garrett, claiming that nobody should make a scene. Cousin Paige kept recording, already uploading an edited video to the family group chat to make Sadie look unruly. Ignoring their cruel chatter, I lifted my crying daughter into my arms, grabbed her lost shoe, and walked straight toward my car. Garrett ran to the driveway, completely torn between supporting us and pleasing his weeping mother. He begged me to stay so we would not cause a bigger scandal, but I refused to negotiate. I drove Sadie straight to the emergency room, where the doctor confirmed that her elbow was dislocated from a severe pull. Because an adult intentionally inflicted the injury, the medical staff immediately reported the incident to child welfare and local police officers. A female police officer arrived at the hospital room to record my official statement about the assault. Shortly after, Garrett entered the room, looking pale and distraught as he realized the severity of the harm done to our child. He worried that involving authorities would tear his family apart, but I explained that the law required full documentation. Sadie looked at me with tearful eyes and asked if she was truly part of our family. After the doctor safely popped the elbow back into place, I sent Garrett home with Sadie so she could rest. I then drove back to our house and opened my garment bag. Hanging inside was my official military uniform, complete with Colonel Eagles on the shoulders. For years, I had allowed these people to dismiss me as a non-entity. Now, I put on the uniform, not for revenge, but to finally establish the truth. When Garrett saw me standing in the hallway wearing my full military uniform, he stood speechless in total awe. Little Sadie touched the silver buttons and told me I looked like a real soldier. I kissed her head, stepped out into the night, and drove back to the lake house reception. It was almost 9 o'clock, and Martha was still strutting around the tent, spinning her fake narrative to every willing listener. As I walked through the entrance into the bright lights, a young airman from the base spotted my rank insignia. He instantly snapped to attention and delivered a sharp salute. The entire crowd went dead silent as they turned to look at me. Trevor, the groom, stepped forward and saluted his own sister-in-law with deep respect. The mystery colonel that Martha had been boasting about all day was standing right in front of them. Martha stood near the head table, her fake smile crumbling as she realized who I actually was. She attempted to play off the incident, loudly claiming that there was a minor misunderstanding and that children get hurt by accident. Uncle Vance chimed in, telling everyone to calm down and stop overreacting. I kept my voice perfectly calm and steady, taking out the official police report case number and presenting the harsh reality to the room. I asked the assembled crowd if anyone had witnessed what truly happened. on the dance floor. An older gentleman stood up first, announcing to the entire room that he saw Martha violently yank the helpless child. A bridesmaid spoke up next, followed by several other guests who confirmed the brutal act. Finally, Chloe, the bride, stood at the main table and declared that Martha had disgraced the wedding by harming a little girl. Just then, the police officer from the hospital walked into the tent to collect formal statements from the witnesses. Martha lost her temper completely, screaming that everyone was betraying her over a simple costume. She turned to Garrett, who had just arrived, demanding that he put a stop to the situation. For the first time in his life, Garrett stood firm against his mother, telling her that she had put his daughter in the hospital. Martha sank into a folding chair, suddenly looking old and defeated as she confessed her own deep-seated insecurities from decades ago. I knelt beside her, acknowledging her past pain while clearly explaining that past hurt never justifies abusing a 7-year-old child. I declared a strict boundary before the entire family. Martha would never be allowed near my daughter unsupervised again. No one raised a single voice to protest my decision. Before leaving, I apologized to Trevor and Chloe for the chaos that disrupted their special day. But Chloe embraced me tightly and expressed deep gratitude for protecting my child. The legal system eventually placed Martha in a mandatory counseling program, creating an official record of her actions. Cousin Paige deleted her misleading video, and family members who had previously judged us sent genuine apologies once the truth was fully exposed to everyone. A few weeks later, the cheerful melody played on our kitchen radio while I brewed morning coffee. Sadie put on her white dress shoes, buckled them tight, and danced across the floor with pure freedom and joy. When she asked if she was real family, I held her close and reminded her that real family protects and cherishes you unconditionally. Respect is not demanded through noise, but earned through unwavering love and protection.